Hey folks, I'm Chris and I'm your Commander Mechanic. How do you feel about infinite combos in Commander? Is there a right saturation for power level, and when do you fire them off at a time that feels fair to the rest of the table? And most importantly, do you feel they belong in a $45 budget list like this week's Build Your Own Precon? This week's deck is Terrifying Terrain, a Sultai, black, green, and blue deck led by the Strixhaven team-up of Zimone and Dina from March of the Machine. This 3-mana 3/4 Humid Dryad reads, whenever you draw your second card each turn, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. And also, tap, sacrifice another creature, draw a card. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. If you control 8 or more lands, repeat this process once. Important to note, repeating the process means you do not have to pay the cost for it again. So if you control 8 or more lands, you get to do it twice for the cost of 1 activation. Z and D here are a great commander with synergies across drawing cards, playing lands, sacrificing creatures, and even more. But as the name Terrifying Terrain implies, we're going to focus on lands in this build. Let's go to 8 lands as quickly as possible with some sweet ramp spells, then grind out value with landfall effects that we can repeat over and over and over and over and over. But before we look at the deck and the potential infinite combo within, be sure to hit all those good buttons for me. Like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell to join the brew crew and never miss a deck. Now, as asked in the outset, how do you feel about infinite combos in a $45 budget deck? Because there's an infinite combo featuring our commander that's easy and possible. I did a whole video about it, linked up top, but if you can make a creature on landfall with any of the multiple effects that do as much, and untap Zimone and Dina with an effect like Retreat to Coral Helm, as long as you have a land in hand, easy enough with a bounced land like Simic Growth Chamber that can return itself to your hand, you get infinite activations of your commander and can draw your entire library. Altogether, this combo costs about $5 of our $45 budget, and has several redundant pieces that all fit within the deck's theme and budget. But should we be running it? At this power level, and knowing that these decks could be playing in a battle box with other Build Your Own Precon brews, I'm going to leave it out. In fact, I'm leaving out the only piece that doesn't have a budget-friendly replacement in Retreat to Coral Helm. All the other pieces that make this combo hum, like Rampaging Balos and Golgari Rot Farm, are in the deck. So if you feel like putting this one together for yourself and are okay with infinite combos, let me know in the comments and be sure to grab a copy of Retreat to add to the deck too. With that out of the way, what is in this deck? Since the focus is on lands, we haven't included many mana dorks. Instead, we want creatures that grab us lands so we can sacrifice them to Z and D when they've served their purpose. Coiling Oracle, Farhaven Elf, even Topiary Stomper fits this bill, all putting lands into play on enters the battlefield, and while they can stick around, they serve us just as well heading to the graveyard. These aren't the only creatures that can generate us sacrifice fodder. We also have Nadir Kraken, Chasm Skulker, and Sedgemoor Witch that all make us 1/1s that we can use to activate our commander over and over again. Along with Maloku the Clouded Mirror, that can help us bounce lands back to our hands, making a body to sacrifice to our commander and allowing us to put a land back into play. How about those landfall triggers though? There are a few that make us a creature on landfall, like Spore Mound, Rampaging Balos, and Zendikar's Royal. But that's not where our landfall synergies end. We also have classics like Lotus Cobra, Courser of Krufix, and Tachiova Benethik Druid, all in the deck and all fitting well within our modest $45 budget, along with the incredible Tireless Provisioner. If it comes down early enough, it can be generating you treasure or food in addition to all of these triggers, and helping combo with creatures like Maloku to help you make potentially infinite sacrifice fodder for your commander. And that's just our creatures. In this color combo, we've got some badass spells too, from ramp like Rampant Growth, Growth Spiral, and the new Open the Way, all helping us hit those 8 lands we need to double up on Z&D's trigger, through to the amazing interaction like Deadly Brew, Culling Ritual, and the new Pile On. We can remove just about anything we need to in a deck like this, whether it's on the battlefield or on the stack, with counterspells like Decisive Denial or Negate to help us protect our key permanents. And when we ramp out of control, we can do some fun things with it too, like nuke a player with Suffer the Past, gaining a bunch of life and draining an opponent. Take that, graveyard players! Or getting to cast a chunk of an opponent's deck for free with Villainous Wealth. Being able to just peel bomb after bomb after bomb from an opponent is pretty ideal. It leads to real "you did this to yourself" moments. Deliciously evil. And I've also included additional synergy pieces in the deck like Patriarch's Seal too, allowing you an extra activation, or two, of your commander at the cost of a single mana. What an amazing utility on a 3 mana rock. Now this wouldn't be a build your own precon without the pivot. An alternate commander in the 99 you can shift the brew around. And this week it's Yarok the Desecrated. That's right, this terror of the table is now budget friendly thanks to its reprinting as a multiversal legend. This 5 mana 3/5 elemental horror has Death Touch and Lifelink and says, if a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Easy enough, it's a panharmonicon for all of your permanents, including your landfall effects, which is why it's a perfect fit as an alternate commander in this deck. You get extra enters the battlefield effects on Solemn Simulacrum, but also additional triggers on something like Retreat to Hagra. Simple enough. It's also why the deck includes evoke elementals like Muldrifter and Shriekmaw. You get double their effect, and they can be sacrificed to Zimone and Dina with their triggers on the stack for additional value. Synergy! But if you're pivoting the deck around Yarok, you'll want to go even more ham on those enter the battlefield effects. I have Eternal Witness, Ravenous Chupacabra, and Enray's Forerunners in the list, all amazing when they trigger twice, but including cards like Acidic Slime, Grave Titan, and Guardian Project all add some real oomph to the deck and can take it from just a landfall deck to something even more than that. This is also where you'll want to factor in some blink like Conjurer's Closet or Thacid Deep Dwelling to reuse the enters the battlefield effects on your creatures. But that's starting to get pricey, so let's take it on over to the upgrade. If I were to add another $50 to the deck, what would I include? Right off the bat, I'd say the new Nissa Resurgent Animist. She's basically another Lotus Cobra that can refill your hand too. But she's $40 on her own and would make for a very short upgrade section. AC Tyrant of Gyre Strait is another potential include too. But at $22, that's a full half of our upgrade budget gone on what is essentially a second Tatiova. Instead, I'm more inclined to recommend cards like Ophiomancer and Seedborn Muse, combined allowing you to activate Zimone and Dina on every turn for some bonkers value. They could replace Nadir Kraken and Perennial Behemoth to add a bit of additional power to your deck. I'm also a big fan of Ob Nixilis the Fallen in landfall lists like this. Popping an opponent for 3 on landfall is really good, especially when you can do it multiple times a turn. Retreat to Kazandu is an easy replacement here, to help you get to the finish line faster. Abundance, while not expensive at just $1, is a good add if you're going the infinite combo route with Retreat to Coralhelm. This way you can choose to never deck yourself by replacing your draw with its effect every activation, allowing you to go truly infinite, if that's the path you're choosing. And it may be cheesy, but Intruder Alarm is another replacement for Retreat to Coralhelm, to help you pop off and go infinite. As long as you've got a new creature entering every loop, you can untap everything every loop. Be careful because it does untap your opponent's stuff too. Let me know what you think of this brew in the comments below. Would you juice up the list for infinite combos? If you've been inspired by the deck, you have to hit that subscribe button. And while you're here, check out these other build your own precon decks. Also, as always folks, good luck and have fun.